Imagine living in the American colonies in the 1700s. You work hard every day, but the government that makes the laws for you is thousands of miles away in Britain. You have no vote and no voice in the decisions they make. This frustration eventually led to one of the most famous protests in history, the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party happened on December 16, 1773, in Boston, Massachusetts. At this time, the American colonies were under British rule. Britain had recently fought the French and Indian War and was deeply in debt. To help pay off this debt, the British government began placing taxes on the colonies. Many colonists were angry about these taxes. They believed it was unfair to be taxed by a government that they had no representation in. This idea became known as no taxation without representation. One tax that caused a lot of tension was the Tea Act of 1773. This law allowed the British East India Company to sell tea directly to the colonies. Although the tea was actually cheaper than before, colonists were upset because they saw it as another way for Britain to force taxes on them. In Boston, protests began to grow. A group called the Sons of Liberty, which included leaders like Samuel Adams, strongly opposed British taxes. They began planning a way to protest the Tea Act and send a message to Britain. On the night of December 16, 1773, a group of colonists gathered at Boston Harbor. Many of them disguised themselves as Mohawk Native Americans to hide their identities. They boarded 3 British ships that were carrying tea. Once on the ships, the colonists opened the chests of tea and began throwing them into the harbor. In total, they dumped 342 chests of tea into the water. The protest lasted for several hours, and by the end of the night, thousands of pounds of tea floated in the harbor. The protesters were careful not to damage the ships or steal anything. Their goal was simply to destroy the tea and show their anger toward the British government. When Britain heard about what happened, they were furious. In response, the British government passed a series of harsh laws known as the Intolerable Acts. These laws punished the colony of Massachusetts by closing Boston Harbor and limiting the colonists' self-government. Instead of stopping the protests, these punishments made the colonists even more united against British rule. Many colonies began supporting Boston and working together to resist Britain. The Boston Tea Party became a powerful symbol of resistance. It showed that the colonists were willing to stand up against what they believed was unfair treatment. Just a few years later, tensions between Britain and the colonies grew even stronger, eventually leading to the American Revolutionary War. Today, the Boston Tea Party is remembered as one of the key events that helped spark the fight for American independence.